Those who have stronger faith need to receive and welcome those with weaker faith. You don't put them at a distance from yourself. You bring them into your own life and into your circle of relationships. You welcome them, just as Christ has welcomed you.
From Walking in Grace, this is the Straight Truth Podcast, Christian truths in an increasingly secular world.
Well, welcome again to the Straight Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Philpott, and as always, I'm joined by Pastor Richard Caldwell of Founders Baptist Church. Now, this podcast seeks to answer questions about faith, doctrine, practice, Bible verses, and even cultural issues. And we'd love for you to join the conversation. So if you're watching from YouTube, just leave us a comment below the video and we'll get to that. Or you can submit a question at our website, and the address is straighttruth.net. Now, at our website, you can find links to all of our social media channels as well as previous episodes. With that, let's get to the question for this episode. Pastor, our next question is about the COVID-19 vaccine. Of course, that's a big issue right now. We're in the spring of 2021, and the vaccine has been rolled out over the last few months and will continue probably through the end of the year. Some people are put into a situation where they are required to take the vaccine to continue whatever it is they're doing. So we received a question from a nursing school student who said that she is being required to take the vaccine to continue in her program. So she's not sure how to approach it biblically, and she says, how should a Christian approach this, which is a politically fueled question in her eyes, but it directly affects her family's education and her future occupation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The question sounds like on the personal level, there might be some hesitancy that she's required to do it for work, but if left to herself, she might not do it. And if she were here with us, I'd like to ask why. In other words, what's fueling your skepticism about taking the vaccine? But here's what I would say in general. Whether we take vaccines or not, it really becomes a matter of individual choice. It becomes a matter of individual conscience decisions. I don't know what fuels some people's hesitancy to take vaccines. For myself, as long as they're medically healthy, I don't see a reason not to take them. But for some, I realize Josh, we meet with all sorts of people who don't want to take vaccines in general.
Right.
So I don't know with this particular one what would make one hesitant to take it, but I would just say it becomes a matter of individual conscience. It's nothing you're required to take outside of her job for anyone else. If you're not required to take it, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to take it, I don't see what's sinful in taking the vaccine. Thank God for good medicine that has rescued us from all sorts of diseases over time. Thank God for the advances in medicine. There's nothing sinful about that. So what I would say is, if she has a major problem in her conscience that would, in her mind, keep her from wanting to take it, maybe that's something you explore with your employers and talk through and see if there's a way to avoid it. And if it doesn't rise to the level of a major problem in your conscience, I would just take the vaccine. Because I can't imagine right now some biblical basis she would have to refuse it.
Is there anything in the scriptures you could point to that I mean, maybe it's as simple as saying we should have love for one's neighbor, or maybe something that would indicate that a Christian should maybe relinquish their own hesitancies on things like this for maybe the common good or greater good, or how would you maybe respond to that? I've heard that a lot lately. You should love your neighbor as yourself, and that might include doing something like this.
Sometimes it would. I think that's overplayed at times. I think sometimes people are trying to enforce on others what they want done, and they do that in the name of love. So if you really loved me, you would do this. If you really loved your neighbor, you would do this. I think that's overplayed sometimes. Okay. But there's no doubt there is an element of that's involved in all of our decision making. Sometimes we do what is for the common good, because that is loving our neighbor. So I just think we have to be careful to make sure that we're not overplaying that hand. The passage that comes to my mind actually is the passage I'm preaching on this Sunday, which is Romans 14, and it deals with conscience issues. And what's amazing to me about that passage is Paul describes the people who are struggling in this particular context as being weak in faith. And what seems to be envisioned in that section are Jewish Christians, people who come from a Jewish background, they've come to faith in Christ, but their conscience is still attached in some measure to the Jewish dietary laws, to the Jewish calendar, holy days, high days, Sabbath days, and they want to continue to live according to the Old Testament dietary laws and according to the Old Testament calendar, even though they've put their faith in Christ. Paul describes them as having a weaker conscience, or a weaker faith. He doesn't even use the word conscience in Romans 14. He does in 1 Corinthians 8, totally different issue. But in this section, he uses the word faith. What I understand that to mean is, if they rightly grasp their freedom in Christ, they will no longer feel bound to those laws. They could eat what the other believers in Rome are eating and be just fine with the Lord. They don't have to observe the special days. They don't have to. They're no longer bound to the Old Testament Jewish calendar. They're not. But in their minds, in their hearts right now, they're not convinced of that. Maybe they should be. They have enough knowledge that they should be free in their own conscience, but they're not yet. What's amazing to me, Josh, is Paul treats that as permissible. If you want to observe the Old Testament dietary law, you can do that. If you want to observe those days, you can, as long as you're thinking about it is right. We don't seem to have a problem there like you do in Galatians, where they think that everyone who doesn't follow their way is lost, right? You've got to obey the law to be saved. It doesn't seem to be that. It just seems to be that this for them means helping their Christian life. It's the way they want to live. He treats that as permissible. And he says those who have stronger faith, and he includes himself in that in chapter 15, verse 1. Those who have stronger faith need to receive and welcome those with weaker faith. You don't put them at a distance from yourself. You bring them into your own life and into your circle of relationships. You welcome them, just as Christ has welcomed you. So there's love, there's patience with those people. It's also interesting, though, as he says to those with weaker faith, you don't judge those with stronger faith. You don't act as if they're sinning because they're operating in the liberty that Christ has given them. And in this way, we love each other. And I think while the COVID vaccine is in a totally different realm, I think there's an application in terms of principle here, which is if I believe that I can take the vaccine, someone who doesn't shouldn't judge me because I exercise that liberty and take the vaccine. On the other hand, if someone doesn't want to take it, I don't exclude them. I don't put them at a distance from me. I don't treat them like they're sinning because they choose not to. We need to allow other people who are different from us to, as long as they can say they're doing what they're doing for the Lord's sake, as long as they can say, and this is what he deals with later in Romans 14, the person who eats does so for the Lord. The person who doesn't does so for the Lord. As long as we can say that, now we have common ground that we can walk together and love each other and get along with each other. And with all these issues that we've been dealing with of late that none of us would have chosen to deal with, I think that's the principle we have to bear in mind. Some of us are going to see this differently than others. We need to love each other throughout. And as long as the person we're dealing with can say with a clear conscience, I believe what I'm doing for the Lord's sake, then that ought to rejoice my heart, even if they're wrongly informed. So I think the principle is, what do you do with a weak conscience? You can inform it, you can teach it, but you don't try to exercise lordship over it. It's not for me to change Josh Philpott's view of vaccines. I can teach you truth about the issue, and I can give you reasons why I think you're wrong, but it's not for me to lord over your conscience in the matter. And I would even encourage you not to violate your conscience in the matter. But my conscience can be rightly informed, and then I can exercise liberty with joy because I don't have the pains of conscience that say you're doing something wrong, within my own mind and heart.
Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Straight Truth Podcast. Now, we'd love for you to share this episode with friends and family. And the easiest way to do that is just by going to one of our social media channels and liking and subscribing to our videos there. Now, we'd love to spread the word about Straight Truth. And the easiest way to do that is by going to the Apple Podcast link and leaving us a 5-star review. Now, Straight Truth is listener supported. So if you'd like to find out ways to help us to continue to produce this podcast, again, go to our website, straighttruth.net. Now, Straight Truth is a production of Walking in Grace Ministries, the preaching and teaching ministry of Pastor Richard Caldwell. For more information, go to walkingingrace.org.